If you're spending big on Meta ads and wondering why you can't get Google ads to spend at the same level, this video is for you. Here's what I see all the time. A business is crushing it on Meta, spending 50,000, 100,000, even multiple six figures per month at a profitable ROAS, but their Google ads account? Stuck at a fraction of that, maybe 10 to 20% of that at most. And the frustrating part is Google often delivers higher ROAS than Meta. So why can't you scale Google to the same level? Now, there's actually a specific campaign type in Google Ads that most advertisers aren't using, and it's designed to compete directly with Meta. Hi, my name is Daryl, and I've been running a Google Ads agency called Big Flare for over 12 years now. And in that time, I've generated over $150 million in e-commerce revenue for my clients. And I've managed Google accounts spending over 500K per month. Now, I've seen firsthand what works and what doesn't when it comes to scaling Google Ads. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly which campaign type unlocks Meta level spend on Google. I'll walk you through the complete setup, then share 6 pro strategies that make it work. Plus, I'm going to reveal a hidden metric in Google Ads that most people don't know about. And without tracking this metric, you'll think this campaign type isn't working when it actually is. All right, let's dive in. All right, guys, so we are here in our Google Ads account, and what you're going to want to do to set this up is click the plus button here and click new campaign like this. We're going to go for the sales objective, and then after you've done that, you just want to make sure that it's actually just your purchase conversion goal that's showing up here. Make sure you've got no other goals showing up, just purchases there, please. Click continue. And then here we come to the campaign type, and big reveal time. The campaign we're doing is demand gen. That's what this is all about today. That's how you can potentially get to Meta levels of performance if you do this right. So let's talk about doing this right. Click on continue next, and we're not going to use a draft. We're going to start new. Okay, so let's just go through the settings and how to set this up. And then after that, I'm going to go through pro strategies that tell you exactly how to get this performing really, really well. Okay, so campaign name, I'm just going to call it demand gen, and we're going to say prospecting, and we're going to say this is our testers campaign. Okay, for product feed, I do recommend that you do keep your product feed attached. This is something that you can test. Later on, you can review the data and see that if the product feed is performing better or worse, yes or no. You can sometimes take off the product feed if it's not working, but I do recommend you run it from the start to see if it will work for you, because it can sometimes work quite well. Next, we have your campaign goal, and it's probably going to be already selected on conversions, so just leave that as is. Make sure you've got conversions selected there. Conversion goals, again, just make sure you've got purchase conversions selected there. That's the name of the game here. And target cost per action. This is where it might not be quite so intuitive, because you might be very tempted to tick that box there and then say what target cost per action you want. And I highly recommend that you don't do this, guys. So this is one area in which demand gen is really different to search and shopping. Oftentimes, you just don't want to set a target. You just want to have the campaign optimizing for conversions, and that's often what works best. But we'll talk more about that in the pro tips section after this setup tutorial. So leave that unticked for now, guys. Budget and dates. So let's just put in an example daily budget there. That's where you're going to fill in your daily budget. Customer acquisition, do not tick this. This is not something you want to be testing at the beginning if you're just starting out on demand gen, so leave that unticked. Brand guidelines, if you do have specific brand guidelines like specific colors and fonts that you want the system to use, this is where you can input those. No, we don't have EU political ads, so we can just leave that as is. Now, most of the other things in here, location and language, like presence or presence and interest, you can just leave that as default. Ad schedule, we're not normally going to be scheduling ads. We're just going to let the system figure out what time of day is best for our ads based on actual performance data. The one thing in this last section that you can change, though, that I do recommend is you come to devices, set specific targeting for devices, and then take off tablets and TV screens. Those usually just perform a lot lower for demand gen. A lot of the time with demand gen, we just want to give Google the ability to test a lot of stuff. But I've seen time and time again that tablets and TV screens perform lower than computers and mobile phones. So I recommend just focusing on those at the beginning. Okay, with those settings done, we can go over to our ads group. And this is where we can start actually creating our ads group and our ads. So ad group name, you can just name that whatever you want. I'm just going to leave that as default for right now. choose product groups. So this is where you can either select all products from your product feed, or you can select specific products if you so wish. So this is dictating how much of your product feed is used when creating your ads. And if you are advertising all products, just do all products. If you're going to be advertising a specific product or a subset of products, then you can specify using this section here, specific products. So I'm just going to leave all products for now. Set your location targeting correctly. Yes, we do want United States. Thank you very much. Check your languages. I don't want all languages. We just want English. Okay. Channels. This is where you can select which channels you want, and you can choose here, but I just would make sure you don't do Google Display Network, because that tends to perform a lot lower than everything else. And really, we're going to just be adding video creative here. So the system's going to be focusing on YouTube with the way that we're going to set this up. So whether or not you tick these, it doesn't really matter. You can just leave them ticks. And if the system is able to show any of your video creative there, it will show these placements can actually work pretty well. So yeah, I would just make sure Google Display Network is not ticked. And actually, this is the default setting for Google now. Like, even Google in their default setting tell you not to use Google Display Network these days. So we can, like, if we use this let me choose section here, we can do this. If you actually just choose all Google channels, it will be the same as ticking these boxes here. So let's just do that. Okay, audience. This is where we can start defining who we want to target. So let's add an audience and click new audience. Now I'm going to go into a bit more detail about what audiences you should actually add in the next section of this video. For now, let's just do an example one. I'll call it DG prospecting, and I'll call it 3 because I've got some existing audiences called something similar. And then you can fill out your audience targeting. Now I'm just going to do this quickly as an example. Let's add, for example, a lookalike audience. So let's say all customers lookalike. And for our seed list, okay, this is an all customers lookalike. So we're going to find our list of all converters. There you go. And then you can set your location here. We want to make sure our audience is just in USA. And for segment reach, you can just normally leave this as balanced. You can go narrow if you want to be much more tightly defined, or broad if you want to create a bigger audience. I would say like 1 billion to 5 billion weekly impressions is a bit overkill. I'd normally be aiming for audiences of like 1 billion weekly impressions. Balanced is normally a bit better performing than broad. Narrow is too narrow. So yeah, just keep it with balanced. I recommend balanced targeting for your lookalikes initially. Click save. Lookalike segment with this name already exists. Okay, let me just change that. Oh, lookalike segment with this configuration actually exists. Oh, okay. It's not letting me do this because I've already got this type of audience in there. So I'm just going to change this to that. So for you, I recommend doing 5%. Right now, it's just not letting me do that because I've already got a 5% audience. So let's just save that. Okay, there we go. Let's click save for our audiences. So when you're doing this, you're going to add more audiences. So check the next part of this video to see what other audiences to add. Optimized targeting. Now, this is one where I recommend you untick. Don't use the Google recommendation of using optimized targeting, at least not in the beginning, guys. Like, I recommend when you're starting out demand gen, don't use optimized targeting. Let the system test and learn and build conversion data with your specific audiences that you've selected first. If you get some good performance, and if you've scaled up the campaign successfully, then later you can test out optimized targeting, but don't use it from the beginning. Okay, then let's go to ad one, and we are going to select video and product ads. So that's the whole part of this strategy, is we want to take our best performing videos from meta ads and add them as video ads within demand gen that are going to go primarily onto YouTube. That is how you can, if you do this well, you can start to rival your meta ads performance. Okay, so ad name, let's just leave that as is. Final URL, let's just put in an example URL for Xnote. I'm going to pretend that I'm advertising this product here, Xnote, just a fancy type of smart notebook that I actually bought recently. So let's pretend I'm doing ads for that one. Okay, so videos, you can add up to 5 videos per ad. Now, I actually recommend you only do 1 video per ad. If you want to add more videos, you can do it like this and add them as separate ads instead of adding them as multiple videos within one ad. And the reason for that is when you add them as separate ads, you get access to more reporting data later on. When you add them all as videos within one ad, you miss out on some data that you could otherwise see if you'd broken these out a little bit. And then with the videos, what you want to do is you want to upload your video creative to your YouTube channel first. Upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, and then you can plug in the URL here. I'm just going to do this by searching for some random video because I'm doing this for an example. Okay, let's add that one there. Okay, don't need to choose where your videos are shown. You can let the system optimize for that. Add your logo and don't auto create a video. No, we don't want to do that. Thanks, Google. Asset optimization, resized videos, shorter videos, and screenshot of your landing page in your ads. All of these can work fine and are very useful, seeing as at the beginning stages, we are just going to use our meta ads creative. We might not have repurposed it for the ideal sizes and time lengths on Google. We're going to do an initial test just with meta ads creative as is. So it's good to leave asset optimization switched on for this. Then you put in up to 5 headlines, 5 long headlines, which are up to 90 characters, and then 5 descriptions. So now I'm just going to do this quickly. When you're doing this, take a bit more time and care over writing your headlines and long headlines. Okay, so fill out your headlines, your long headlines, and your descriptions. Call to action you can leave as automated. That way it will just sort of split test all these options here and then start using whichever one actually performs best for you. Business name, fill that in there. Site links, make sure you've got 4 or more site links added to the campaign. Now, in my case, and if you follow my advice, this will be true for you as well. If you're running Google Ads the proper way and you're running Google Ads currently, you've already got tons of site links added at the account level. So you can see here my account level site links are already applying to this ad. You can customize this though specifically for demand gen by adding your site links here. And if you don't have a bunch of account level site links already added to your account, I do recommend that you just add site links here and make sure you've got them added for your demand gen ads. Okay, so now we've done the first ad, right? And we've only added 1 video. And then let's just delete this extra ad I created here. Then what you can do is you can do this. Duplicate that. Now we've got a slot for our second video ad. So here we can just keep everything the same because normally what we're going to do is just use the same headlines and descriptions across ads, across videos, and all we vary is the video creative because that's what we're testing in terms of creative initially. So now we've created an exact duplicate with all the same settings. We just change the video. Again, upload your video to your YouTube channel as unlisted, then plug in the URL here to find it and add it. I'm just going to add in any old thing as an example. And then, rinse and repeat until you have done this for all of your video creative that you are testing in demand gen. And again, we're going to talk in the next section about how many videos to test and what those videos should look like. So let's not get into that right now. So now we've created all our ads. You go to your review campaign screen, you review the settings, make sure all the details look correct. Do double check this, guys. Mistakes can be made. And then you click publish and you have launched your demand gen campaign. Now that you've seen the basic setup, let me share the 6 pro strategies that will actually make this work for your business. These are the tactics that separate successful demand gen campaigns from ones that just waste money. All right, strategy number 1. This is the most important tip I can give you. If you're already crushing it with video ads on Meta, you're sitting on a goldmine. You can start demand gen by simply reusing your top performing Meta videos directly. No need to create custom YouTube content, at least not initially. Just repurpose what's already working. Here's the process. Go into your Meta Ads Manager and identify your top 10 to 15 performing videos from your prospecting campaigns. Look at metrics like return on ad spend, conversion rate, and engagement. Find the videos that are genuinely performing well. Then upload those same videos to your demand gen campaigns on YouTube. There's actually no need to change or re-edit the videos at all. Google can work with the same exact aspect ratios as Meta does, and videos that perform well on Meta can absolutely perform well in Google Demand Gen. And the goal here is really just to be able to do a quick and painless test to see if investing further into Demand Gen will be worth your while. So if those videos work, even if they are just sort of performing okay, Well, that's a strong signal that demand gen is worth investing in further. Once you've validated that demand gen works for your business, you can then invest in creating YouTube-specific videos. But start with what you already have. You've already invested time and money to figure out what videos work on Meta, so start with that. Strategy number 2, lookalike audiences. These are performing exceptionally well in demand gen right now for a lot of my clients. Here's what I recommend. Create and test both of these lookalike types simultaneously. The first type is an all customers lookalike. Export your entire customer list or just use the audience in Google of people who already purchased and then create a lookalike based on that data. This gives Google a broad signal of what typical customers look like for you. And then the second type is a high value customers lookalike. Export a list of only your highest lifetime value customers, your biggest spenders, your most frequent repeat purchasers. Create a separate lookalike audience based only on those top customers. Now, in my experience, this high value lookalike often performs even better than the all customer lookalike. Why? Well, because you're telling Google to find more people like your best customers, not just any customers. The algorithm has a higher quality signal to work with. Now, whilst lookalikes often end up being one of the best performing audiences, don't stop there. Also test other audience types. Custom segments based on relevant keywords, in-market audiences for relevant categories, and affinity audiences that match your ideal customer profile. Pro tip, in Google Ads, go to the Insights page under the Insights tab. Scroll down to Audience Insights. Here you can see what audiences come up a lot in your existing campaigns, and oftentimes these audiences are also going to be strong performers in demand gen. Do remember to test multiple audience types and let the data tell you what works best for your business. Strategy number 3, keep your campaign structure simple and consolidated. At the beginning, use a straightforward 2 to 3 campaign structure. Don't overcomplicate things when you're just starting out. Here's the structure I recommend. Campaign 1 is your winner videos campaign. This is a cold traffic prospecting campaign. It contains only your best performing video creatives, the videos that have proven themselves as converters in demand gen, the ones generating sales. This campaign gets a higher budget allocation because you're putting money behind proven winning videos. Campaign 2 is your tester videos campaign. This is also a cold traffic prospecting campaign, but it's used specifically for testing new creative. When you're starting out, all your initial meta videos will go in here first. This campaign gets a lower budget allocation when you're running testers and winners at the same time. This campaign is for testing, not scaling. As videos prove themselves in the tester campaign, you graduate them to the winner campaign, and then this keeps your best performers separate from your experiments. Campaign 3 is your retargeting campaign. This is completely separate from prospecting. You're targeting people who have already engaged with your brand. For example, website visitors, product viewers, add to cart abandoners. For your retargeting campaign, you can use the same videos as your cold traffic campaigns, and the budget here is normally going to be less than the prospecting budget. Because there's less budget to play with, you want to focus on your best videos here. Now, one thing to note, if your retargeting campaign is spending a decent amount, then it can be worthwhile to add in retargeting specific videos. For example, videos that show off social proof or handle common objections can work really well here. Strategy number 4, bidding strategy. Here's my primary recommendation. Start with maximize conversions, meaning select conversions as the campaign goal, and then do not use a target CPA or ROAS. Now, this might surprise you if you're experienced with Google Ads, because with search and shopping campaigns, I do typically recommend graduating to target ROAS as soon as you have enough conversion data to do so. But demand gen is a completely different beast. Unlike search and shopping, demand gen campaigns often perform best on maximized conversions even at scale. I've seen many mature demand gen campaigns that continue to outperform when kept on plain old maximized conversions with no target CPA or ROAS. Why? Well, top of funnel campaigns have just different dynamics than bottom of funnel campaigns. The algorithm needs more flexibility here to find converting users in a broader audience pool. Now, once you have substantial conversion data, let's say a few hundred conversions, you can absolutely test target CPA or target ROAS, but here's the key. Structure it as a test, not a permanent switch necessarily. Run both bid strategies simultaneously using campaign experiments. Compare performance over 2 to 4 weeks. Look at the actual results and make your final decision based on a good amount of data. So basically, don't assume that the same playbook that works for search and shopping will work with demand gen. Test it and let the data guide your decision. Strategy number 5, budget recommendations. Here's my rule of thumb for a starting budget. 10 to 20% of your current Meta ads monthly spend. So if you're spending $50,000 per month on Meta, budget $5,000 to $10,000 per month for demand gen testing. If you're spending $100,000 on Meta, budget $10,000 to $20,000 for demand gen testing. Now, I wouldn't go much less than $5,000 as a minimum for demand gen, so if you are spending less on Meta, you might just need to use that as your starting budget. Overall, this gives you enough budget to test effectively without over-committing. You're going to get sufficient data to make informed decisions. You'll have room to test multiple audiences and creative, but you won't blow your entire marketing budget on an unproven channel. And here's another important point: don't expect immediate results. Give demand gen 1 to 3 months of testing. The algorithm needs a good amount of time and data to learn, and your creative needs time to find its audience. Cutting the test too early is one of the biggest mistakes I see newbies making. Once you prove performance and see that demand gen is working for your business, then scale the budget up. But in the beginning, be patient and let the data accumulate. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, I want to scale my Google Ads, but I'm not sure if my account is set up correctly, I have something that can help. I offer personal video audits where I personally review your Google Ads account and record a detailed 15 to 20 minute video walking through exactly what I see. You'll get specific, actionable recommendations that you can implement immediately. I've spent over 17 years managing Google Ads accounts that have generated over $150 million in e-commerce revenue. I can spot issues and opportunities quickly. Recent clients who implemented my audit recommendations saw results like an $83,000 increase in monthly revenue, a 133% revenue boost, and ROAS increases from 481% to over 1,300%. The audit is $250 delivered within 5 business days, and there's no upsell. Just straight talk from someone who's been doing this for over a decade. I only take 5 video audits per month, so if you're interested, click the link in the description to secure your spot. All right, let's continue with the final pro strategy. Strategy number 6, and this one is critical. Understand your KPIs and something called Platform Comparable Conversions. Now first, let me set proper expectations around performance measurement. Your goal with demand gen should be to match whatever ROAS and spend you're achieving on Meta ads. In the best case scenarios, demand gen can scale up to Meta level spend with similar ROAS. That's the ideal outcome, but here's where it gets tricky. Do not compare demand gen's standard return on ad spend column directly to your Meta ads return on ad spend column. They're measuring things differently. And if you make this comparison, demand gen will always look worse than it actually is. Let me explain. Google's standard ROAS column splits credit between all channels in a customer's journey, and it values clicks very highly and doesn't value video views at all if there were any clicks on any other campaigns. So imagine this scenario. A potential customer sees your demand gen video ad on YouTube. They watch it, they're super interested, but like most people, they don't actually really click on YouTube ads. A little while later, they remember your product and brand, and then they go searching for it on Google. The first thing they see is a row of shopping ads, and then they click the product there, and then they browse your site for a bit, but they don't buy yet. Later on again, maybe even the next day, they search directly for your brand, click your branded search ad, and then they buy. Now in Google's standard ROAS column, what credit does demand gen get? 0. Nada. None. Because the customer didn't click on the demand gen ad. All the credit goes to the shopping ad and the search ad. But wait, that demand gen video ad is what created the interest in the first place. The customer only searched because they remembered seeing your video. Demand gen generated the demand, shopping and search just captured it. But the standard ROAS column doesn't account for any of that because it does not value video views if the same user clicked on any of the other campaign's ads. A lot of people can be influenced by seeing your video ad without necessarily clicking on it. The standard ROAS column therefore severely undercounts demand gen's true value. And this is where platform comparable conversions comes in. Google Ads now has a metric called Platform Comparable Conversions and the related Platform Comparable Return on Ad Spend. Now, this metric attempts to match how Meta Ads attributes conversions. Here's how it works. Platform Comparable ROAS gives full credit to demand gen, whether that's a click or a view, and even if other Google campaigns were clicked in the same customer journey. If someone saw your demand gen ad and then later converted, even if it was through a different campaign in Google, demand gen gets 100% credit when it comes to platform comparable numbers. This is just like how Meta attributes conversions by default. In a customer journey where Meta generated the awareness and then that person later clicked on some Google ads, Meta's not going to discredit itself and share credit to the Google campaigns. No, Meta is going to assign itself 100% credit. Now, here's the catch. Platform Comparable ROAS will show higher numbers than your true ROAS. Why? Because it's giving full credit to demand gen even when other channels also influenced the purchase. It's the opposite problem from the standard return on ad spend column. Standard return on ad spend undercounts demand gen, but platform comparable return on ad spend overcounts demand gen. So the truth here is usually going to be somewhere in the middle. Your actual return on ad spend is higher than what the standard column shows, but lower than what platform comparable column shows. So what do you do with this information? Use platform comparable ROAS to compare with Meta Ads. This gives you a much fairer comparison. Both platforms are now measuring in the same way. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say your Meta Ads are doing 400% return on ad spend. Your goal should be to achieve approximately 400% platform comparable return on ad spend in demand gen. Your standard return on ad spend column might show something like 200%, maybe even lower. That's expected and normal. Don't panic. The standard column will often show roughly half of what platform comparable shows, depending on your business. So if you're seeing 200% standard return on ad spend, but 400% platform comparable return on ad spend, and your Meta is doing 400% return on ad spend, you're actually right on track. To find this column in Google Ads, go to your columns and modify columns, and then search for platform comparable. Add platform comparable conversions and platform comparable conversion value, and then also platform comparable return on ad spend to your columns and reports. Then observe your platform comparable metrics and compare them to your Meta performance. This is how you know if demand gen truly is working for your business. Now, if you follow the steps in this video, you should be well on your way to mastering demand gen. But what about the other big AI-driven campaign type in Google Ads, Performance Max? If you want to learn some of my top advanced optimizations for Performance Max, check out this video right up here. It's my pro-level guide to expert strategies that you can run in PMax that no one else told you before. I'll link it up right here. All right, guys, that's all from me today. Happy optimizing, and I'll see you on the next one.